Okay, so welcome back to another episode of Addicted to Quitting, where we are focusing on quitting habits that no longer serve us so we can elevate our health, our habits, and our happiness. Today, I am interviewing a very important person in my kids' life, and I'm excited to do this interview. We've talked about it a little bit, but I think that there's just so much value for people that are in our types of situations. If they could hear kind of our relationship, the things that we've done to make our relationship better. So today I am interviewing Haley Jones. So Haley is married to my boys' dad, so my ex-husband. And so she is the bonus mom to my 4 boys. So I wanted to have a conversation with Haley about, one, her sobriety. She also has gotten sober. And then also about our relationship as co-parents, and kind of not really get into like the details of our obstacles, but like the feelings we've felt going through our obstacles. Because I think that's really helpful.
The big feelings.
Yeah. So it's like when I'm feeling like jealous or feeling like I'm insecure as a mom and somebody else is stepping in and doing things better than me, or like we can talk about the feelings behind the situations, because I think that's ultimately what causes conflict, is like our uncomfortable feelings, and then how we've kind of worked through them and how we've continued to keep it about like the kids and grow and all that stuff. So welcome.
Thank you.
To Addicted to Quitting.
Thank you for having me.
How long have you been sober? Why don't we start with sobriety?
Since it was the day after my mother's birthday. So, yay. Happy birthday to all of us. It was February, or not February, oh my gosh. It was April 15, 2022. So over 2 years. Almost 2.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just had 29
months. Yep. So
what was it that got you to the point of like deciding that alcohol no longer served you?
So I have an anxiety disorder and been on medication for like 7 years, maybe around there. And most people know that you're not supposed to drink when you're on those types of medications, and I obviously was. And it just got to the point where I would have one drink and it felt like I was having 4, and I would be blacked out like very soon, and it was just a continuous cycle, and I couldn't do it anymore. I got to that point.
I think that that's like what's interesting about alcohol is that there's like, here's the medication, here's like all these other things that you're supposed to be doing, and we'll do a lot of the other healthy things, but like alcohol is so widely accepted as like just part of adulthood.
Yep.
That's like the last thing people talk about removing, when really like so many of our problems would probably get better if we started with that.
Yep. I was like going to therapy, I was doing all the things, but I was still drinking and doing drugs. So
yeah,
it didn't really make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But like, you're like, oh no, I'm checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
Like all the physical things that people tell me I should be doing, I'm doing. Yep. But nothing's changing.
Yep. So, we got to that point, and then you happened to be sober, and I was just like, man, I don't want to be sober. That seems boring. And then I was like, well, maybe it's not. And then you were the only person that I knew that was sober. And then like 6 months before I finally got sober, my best friend from college, she lives in Texas. She was the only other person I knew that got sober. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. Like, I got to the point I was just totally over it. Dumped out all the alcohol, and I was just like, okay, this is day 1, and we'll just, I didn't know how long it was gonna last. I didn't know, anything like that, but I just was over it, and
so
all of it.
The leading up to that, because there's like, I feel like there's like a window of time for everybody in like the choice to sobriety where they're that sober curious. So I talk about like sober curious on my page and stuff too, and it's like I'm questioning it. I don't really like the way it makes me feel. Like, what were you doing in that time of like sober curiosity?
Stalking your Instagram.
Well, you did
I literally
you reached
did.
out to me before, and I think that actually like we didn't have a bad relationship. Like I never feel like there was any like serious conflict. Like
No.
there's normal conflicts because we're trying to all raise kids. And There's a lot of adults. There's a lot of opinions and all this stuff. But like we never really have like serious issues. So there wasn't anything before. But I know that I felt honored that you would talk to me about that because it is something more personal. It's like this is like this isn't just about the kids. This is like, hey, I'm questioning my drinking.
Yeah, and like I at the beginning, I was like, do I want to cross over into that personal side, you know? Because I was like, okay, it's about the kids, whatever. But like, I was like, okay, well, she's the only person though. Like, she's the only person I know. The only person that I know will be real with me, and like, screw it. Like, I'm just gonna ask, and then it kind of just went from there, you know. So.
I think too, like a lot of people in that sober curious are kind of, like you said, stalking Instagram, following people that are doing those types of things, and then like the courage to start reaching out. Because I know as soon as I started like opening my circle to more people, knowing that I was questioning it, it kind of opened up the accountability. Yeah. So it's like if I'm just in my own little house drowning and I can hide it from most of the world, I can kind of keep co-signing my own bullshit. But as soon as I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about quitting drinking, and then I see on your social that you were out partying or something, then it's like somebody else of is like seeing that you're questioning this, but then your behavior is not matching your words. So
yeah, it was. So I stopped drinking. I like ever since high school, like I was like 14, 15. I was like I'm a very avid smoker, and I know a lot of people who quit drinking lean on that, you know, as a backup kind of thing. So I was a heavy smoker like most of my life, and then I got to the point where I really wanted to cut back on that as well, just because I was still foggy. I was still in that fog that I didn't want to be in, and I was like, okay, like I just started weaning myself basically, and now as of like current, I am 100% like sober, besides my anxiety medication. And when I'm at like big events, I'll take like a CBD gummy, and that's it. And like CBD for me, I don't really like put it in the same box as like THC or like any of those things. And it just kind of like mellows my anxiety and like I feel
more like a natural, like instead of getting going to the doctor and getting prescribed Xanax, you're more over.
I feel like
natural.
I can breathe, and I'm like, okay, like I'm fine, and I feel like I'm sober. So that's the important thing. Like I want to feel that I have that control still, but I'm like, okay, like.
I'm glad that you like talk about that too, because I do think that like sober really looks different for everybody, because it's like you don't like that, and which is AAers. I'm sorry, I know that I always get I feel like I talk bad about AA, or I like point out things about AA that I don't like, because there's a lot of things about AA I do like. But like the count and the completely sober and the like judgment, it's like I want people to be on their own journey that works best for them. And so like if sometimes doing CBD is like helpful for you and it doesn't disrupt your family, it's not ruining your relationships, you're able to go to jobs and be like successful. Like the idea is to be the healthiest version of yourself and taking the steps that you want to take to do that. So I think that that's like important, that like I'm not encouraging any of doing or smoking or whatever. I'm not nothing. It's just like I personally got like less, and like once I quit alcohol, same thing. I did kind of gummies for a minute to like sleep, and which didn't really help me sleep. It just made me like antsy. So that stopped quickly, but then it was like the more sobriety I had, which like addicted to quitting. Like once I quit one thing, I was addicted to trying to get other things. Like I didn't want to be on birth control anymore. Like I hated like the hormones effect. I wanted natural everything. I just wanted like my body to let it to do what it's supposed to do. And so it's like your own journey. Like you.
Yep, and I was off even my anxiety medication. I was off of that for a few years, and then I was off it because at the time my life wasn't stressful. You know, like I felt like, okay, I'm fine. You know, I don't need that. Like I'm. It is what it is. But then life gets stressful again, and then it kind of,
I was going to ask you that about how your anxiety has been since getting sober. So like, what's it look
It's so when I was drinking, and obviously drinking increases your anxiety, and which would lead to like the drunken anxiety, panic attacks. Those are never fun.
Yeah.
So now that I am sober, it feels a lot more manageable. Like, of course, everybody has anxiety, even if they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, like some level.
So yeah, like I can control it. I can, I do a lot of readings and stuff still. I can distract myself with other stuff. I still have my days.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think my anxiety is going to go anywhere. It's just all about how I can manage it.
It's like learning healthier coping mechanisms. Yeah. So your highs and lows aren't as.
Yeah, I'm writing this, the very, I'm in the middle. It's, with the kids and everything life throws at us, like, days are worse. Some days are worse than others, but I mean, I'm pretty good right now, which feels like I can breathe.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, I have like anxiety. I mean, I don't know what I have. Anxiety, depression, just stress, ADHD. I'm all over the place.
But add depression to it. Yeah, that's a big one too.
But when depression is often like kind of the side effect of all the get comfy little chairs we got here. But the like depression was such like a side effect of like the guilt and shame of like the anxiety or like the stress of the anxiety or like the guilt and shame of the ADHD. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot that again. I forget things and I get mad at myself and I get depressed about it because I'm just like trying to do my best. And I used to be a lot worse with that with when I was drinking. Like I still have those moments, like you said, like I still have like where I get in these ADHD fogs where I just can't see straight. And like I've talked about, like somebody putting your hands in front of your face. I'm just like, I don't know who I text, what's going on, where I'm supposed to be going. And also getting like, I just want to sleep all day, but I don't anymore. Like I used to just be like, I'll try again tomorrow. And I'd give up for the day and just check out. And now, like, even there's times that I'm like, I'm just going to go lay down. I can't. Cause I'm like, I know this isn't productive. I know this isn't going to help anything.
Yep.
And so I'm not going to keep wasting my energy trying to like give this energy.
Yeah. And when you get like that, I'm like, Gentry, get that practice.
Yeah.
Gentry, okay. We need these things. And you're like, oh yes. I remember.
Let's talk about that because we'll get into kind of like the co-parenting side because I do have ADHD. We have 4 boys, got engaged. So I have 2 more kids to kind of like to help with. I have the Airbnb. I have my own business, all these moving parts. And with that, like if I'm proactive and I'm on top of my stuff, I'm okay. But I do get behind. And talk about like how that makes you feel and how you work through that because you are supportive through that. Like I beat myself up. And anyways, let's just share about how that's been.
Well, both of our lives are crazy in different ways. And the boys, they were in what, like 4 sports at one time?
Yeah.
Like, why do we do this to ourselves? I don't know. But we obviously want them to have whatever they want. In a reasonable, reasonable, if they want to play a sport, okay. Or you're going to play the whole sport, the whole season. You're not quitting. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a very routine schedule. Summer was hard because there's none of that. But like very routine, like I need that because when I get off work, I need to know what I'm doing after. And so like that's why just, we have all of the parenting, or not the parenting, but like all their sports schedule stuff and like all the apps and all the things. And I just always send the text in the group chat like, oh, this is so-and-so's one-on-one, or this is whatever. And I feel like I'm annoying, but also like I'd rather send that, like, I'm up early, and I'd rather send that stuff, like, early in the morning when I'm thinking about it, and, like, if you guys read it, you read it. Like, and, like, whatever, but, like, I'm gonna say it just so everyone kind of knows, even though it's only you and me that are basically home. So it's like...
Well, yeah, okay, so we have a group chat. So it was me, you, and Andy, their dad, for a long time, and then Will and I got engaged. We added Will. So the four of us are all in a group chat, and we communicate a lot in there, and
mainly, most of it, almost all of it, is through that.
Yeah, every now and then, like, we'll say something on the side, but, like, these guys are stuck at life. No, we don't.
Stuck at planning
everything. Why do we have these
Why
men?
are we engaged? I don't understand.
No, we never do that. It's like, hey, you want to come over and do a podcast episode with me? But we try to keep it in there so that everybody knows what's going on. We keep everything all on the same page. And I feel like we're very...
And we can look back.
Yeah, and we can go back and, like, and I appreciate the over communication because I do have, like, a lot, and I get distracted and I get forgetful. So it's, like, helpful to be like, okay, that's right, that's going on today. And like we've talked about too, like, so actually this is something that my counselor has talked about with Will and I in our couples counseling, is like, was the forgetfulness, was the miscommunication, was any of those things done with ill intent? Like, was that person trying to set you up to fail? Were they trying to screw you over? And none of our communication is ever this, like, intentional act of, like, F yous.
Yeah.
So I think that took time for, probably more so for, like, Andy and I to get okay with.
The mediator.
Yeah. because we had, like,
well, it was literally, like, so me and him have been together we just had our 1 year anniversary, wedding anniversary. So we've been together over 4 years now. Mm-hmm. So that means it's been us three for that, basically those 4 years. Mm-hmm. And so obviously everyone is going to have their moment, which is fine. Yeah. Because we're all allowed to have it. And, but I feel like we've been on a really good, like, like, nothing, like, if Andy gets heated, I'm like, just chill, dude. It's not a big deal. Like, just, I got it, Like, because he gets home so late, and I'm like, it's fine. I got it. Like, it's, I get to that point where it's like, it's fine. Yeah. Because he's all riled up and everything, and I'm like, just chill, please. Because you're making it worse. And I talk him off the ledge a lot, and I'm like, just relax. Well, and
I feel like there's times that, I mean, I get the same way. It's like, but because I get, like, our egos get involved. I think which is just normal with the situation. Mm-hmm. I think that happens a lot in these co-parent relationships. So if you're listening to this and you're a co-parent, your ego, it might rile its little nasty head sometimes and be like, those are my kids, or this is my schedule, or this is like you don't want to accommodate because you feel like it's about them trying to push your buttons, or you're like no, like, let's look big picture. Mm-hmm. Like, none of this is about you anymore. Like, whatever happened to the relationship, like why it fell apart, or like whatever happened with, like, court or whatever is is like, it's not important and when we're talking about, like, today's stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, I'm not trying to, like, here's today's off things, here's what we need to communicate today, here's what we need to do for the kids today, and try to keep moving forward. I think we've done better at like every year, like, just kind of like, okay, refocusing back to, like, what is this about? This is about the kids. And I don't think anybody in that text thread is doing anything to, like, deliberately disrespect anyone. Yeah, no. So even if it comes across that way, it's like, and that's not how he meant it.
Yeah. Well, it's hard because texting, you're reading it one way, and you're thinking about it another way, and it's just, I don't know. It's just the communication. It is what it is, basically. Mm-hmm. But I mean, at the end of the day, as long as we have the communication, we know what's going on with the kids, it's fine.
Yeah.
I know from so many stories and so many other parents that there's way worse out there. And we're doing pretty good. We're doing so good. So I'm proud of us.
We do really well, and I do, but I think that it's important to be like, but that doesn't mean that it's perfect.
No, oh God, no.
Like there's still like I read things and I'm like, I get like my feelings involved or my ego involved, or that you guys read things, or Andy reads things, or Will reads things, or whatever, and it's like, was this meant? Like Will even asked me the other day, did you mean to not respond? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, they text and ask a question. I was like, they did? Like, no, there's no intention to. He's like, it looks like you're doing it on purpose, and I was like, oh, my bad. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be better. Which him being involved helps me because he's more like you. He's more like organized on top of stuff, and he gets things done. And if he says he's gonna do something, he does it. And I'm like, I have good intention to do it. Yeah, that doesn't mean it's gonna get done. So like having him involved, like, has kind of like somebody in my ear kind of catching me, being like, that you sound kind of like an asshole. And I'm like, what?
Finally, we have someone to kick your butt.
She was like, respond. I was like, no, Haley and I talked though, because one of the times
talked, it's fine. She knows what I mean.
One of the times that he asked that, we did it. I was like, no, we talked on the phone. We like, she called about something else, and we sorted that out. Yeah. So and that's who really matters. As long as Haley and I know what's coming.
Yeah, the boys are just,
they're great dads. They're great father figures, and they're good.
But let's be real.
Yeah. The women run the house, which is why I remember somebody saying when we were going through our divorce, like, yeah, you guys get along now, but just wait till somebody's in his life, because who he chose as a partner was going to change.
It changes everything.
Yeah, and it was like,
it's going to,
because that is going to be the woman in his ear. That is going to be the home, the person that makes that house a home. And I'm super grateful for all that. So it's like, I want a good relationship with you because I want to be able to like know what's going on and feel like safe, and we all feel comfortable. And like, I remember that just being a fear of mine of like, if he chooses somebody that wants to like
move away or do something crazy,
like it doesn't, or it wants to nitpick on things, like, well, we can't switch that schedule because that's not what the court order is or whatever. Yeah. But it's like, no, we can switch schedules. Yeah. Like, it doesn't affect us. And if it does, you say, oh no, I can't that weekend, and I call my parents, or we just redirect to like problem solve. There's never like this, like, there's no saying no because of out of like spite.
Yeah. Well, like, so I'm gonna be honest. So in the beginning, it was like really hard. And I don't know if it was for you, but it was for me. Because I don't have kids. I'm a motherless stepmom. I don't have my own kids. And I was, like freaking 24?
Yeah.
I was a baby.
So 24, just got out of college, and then was like, here's 4 kids.
Yeah. That you're gonna help raise. And like, it wasn't like oh my gosh, she has 4 kids. What a surprise. Like, no, I knew that. I knew all of it going into it. And so I was like, but I didn't know what was going to come of it, you know? So I was like, okay, like, whatever, like, he has 4 kids, like, cool, I love kids, like, and they're boys, so they're fun and rowdy, and, like, I'm totally used to that. And so, going into it, I was like, okay, like, this is obviously terrifying, and you were terrifying to me, you were so intimidating, and I was just like, sorry. I was just like, oh my god, like, you know, what am I getting myself into? And you know, everyone I talked to about it, like, for support, and they're like, are you sure, you know, you want to do that? And I was like, well, but I'm happy. Like, I'm happy, and everything's fine, and whatever. And then when I started kind of taking on more of a role with the boys, and, you know, they started school, and then I was, like, doing the schedules and all of that, I was like, okay, you know, I remember when I texted, like, okay, like, Thursdays, I want to pick them up from school, you know, like, I want that responsibility of doing that. And so the more I, like, kind of picked up on more and more, and I was like, I got this. Like, I don't, like, and it's weird because I don't have kids, so I'm like, how is this just kind of flowing for me and just kind of making sense? And, I mean, my motherly instincts kicked in, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, yes, it's hard, of course. Being a stepmom, being a mother, being any type of mother figure in someone's life is going to be hard. But I'm managing, and some days are harder, obviously, but most days are pretty good. And yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah, 24,
lot.
like 24 years old. Like,
I was a baby.
it just
I'm
finished.
still a baby.
I'm just a baby. That's what I always tell Will when he's like, what is going on? I'm just a baby. I don't know. I'm just a baby. Okay. So I do want to go back to that though, to the beginning, because when you came into the picture, I think this is important for moms that are in that new divorce, even dads. But there was like this reluctancy from me. There was like, she's 24. What?
Oh, well,
There's,
yeah,
I
would
like,
be the same way though.
and like Andy, we were already kind of working together, and I was helping him a lot with stuff. Like I would go over and get the boys, like I'd go and pick up all the laundry at his house, and like, so I was still like involved and kind of felt like I was like helping and being that supportive role. And then I had to learn that, like, okay, that's no longer my place, and I need to just like step back. And so that was a little bit uncomfortable because I had to like trust that, like, okay, like my kids are gonna get their shit taken care of, and that she's gonna still be kind, and like we're gonna be able to get along. Like that fear of like people saying like another woman's gonna come in and it's gonna completely disrupt your guys' co-parenting was a genuine fear.
It will disrupt it.
But like in a negative way. Like they're going to come in and like try and like.
Yeah, it will disrupt it, obviously. Like adding another person to any dynamic will, but it's how you react to it. You know, it's like, okay, like are you going to make it harder for that person, or are you going to like take a step back and kind of just see how it goes? And then, you know, just kind of go from there. And
yeah,
some people are a lot harder to deal with though, or like work with and try to even have a regular conversation with. So it's like, you know, I don't know, you just pick your battles too.
Yeah,
that's a big thing.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, is it something that they're really trying to be disrespectful? Is it something that really is something I want to fight about? Probably not. But I think at the beginning I was a little bit more like not wanting to let go of that control, because it's like I have to trust the situation. But I think that there's like a little bit of like a jealousy thing too as a mom. Like you're like, well, I don't want somebody else to love my kid that way, you know, and that's the ego, right? Like, like I had to let that go too, because if I look at the big picture, and now I like truly feel is like I'm so grateful that the boys have more people to love. Like I'm like Beckham's not even biologically Andy's, but Andy's always raised him like his own. You've always raised him like you're his own. Like that's never been even a question, because it's just like he's a kid that that you guys we all love.
Yeah.
And so it's like that, like you coming into the picture made that house a home, and I'm like grateful that they have another home. Like I hate when co-parents want the other parent to fail to prove that they're the better parent.
Why is it a competition?
Yeah, right. That's what it's like. I've always wanted Andy to win. I wanted him to be successful, and like that's why I helped him at the beginning. Like I want you to get on your feet. I'm like I want these things, and so it's like. And I would hope that you guys would want me to succeed. Like the more successful I am with my businesses and my things I have going on, the more resources I have, the more successful we all are, like for the kid.
Yeah, well, and that's why like when you like want to switch weekends or stuff like that, like most of the time we don't have plans. So I just double check the schedule, because moms always have the schedule, and then I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like this weekend, we switched weekends for this weekend.
Yeah, so, and it was just like, hey, can we switch? And if you guys said no, and I think saying no because it doesn't work for you, that's also been something that like we've had to get comfortable doing, because it's like you don't want to piss them off, but like so like the fear of like that, like we had to trust each other that it's like it's not going to make me mad if you say no, but it's like, why are you saying, if you have something else going on, that's fine, then I'll just go to my backups. Like but Andy always gets first option. Like, hey, I'm going to be gone. Do you want to take the kids? Like when Will and I went to Hawaii, it's like, hey.
I was just going to bring that up.
When we went to Hawaii,
it's like, hey, I'm going to be gone for like 12 days.
It's like what? Do you want to take them? Or I would hire a babysitter. But like the other bio parent should get like first option to, and you can say no. Like, hey, actually we can't, this is what we can do. You know, like but we being able to have like those conversations and trust that there's not like going to be animosity if like, well, I can't really do that, but we could do this, or can we switch this?
It's a lot about compromising too.
Yeah.
Like, because even with this weekend, you brought up the fact like, hey, can we switch weekends? And I was like, oh my gosh, that would be perfect because my cousin's getting married. Like, and it's a small backyard wedding, and the boys are like, okay, like, can we switch for that weekend, please? Because we had them, and I was like, this works out perfect.
Yeah, like usually it's like, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. And
except for then we each have to have them 2 weekends in a row, which is exhausting.
Yeah, then it's
I'm
groceries. No.
Like Will was like, you're gonna be in Dallas. You're gonna be exhausted when you come home, and then you're gonna have your kids for 2 weekends in a row. Like,
yep.
Yeah, I know. That third week is gonna be.
Yep. It's rough.
Like, peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Here.
But like, so summertime.
Summers are hard.
Let's dig into that. Summertimes are so hard for parents who work from home, parents who work outside of the home.
Mm-hmm.
What? I love summer, but I also like dread it.
Yeah.
I dread it so much. And you and me talked about it a lot. And I'm just like, I don't, like, what do we even do?
Yeah, I
there's
want to
so
be
much.
so grateful that I could be here to run them around, but like I'm also trying to work and like in this summer I was renting out the house still. So next summer if the house goes to shit, I won't have to like hurry and get it back together by the weekend.
It's a mess.
Yeah, the
I'll
house
figure
is
it
a
out.
mess.
Whatever.
We'll clean it later.
But
when I was using my house doesn't
you won't be on a time frame.
Yeah,
you
like
won't be on a exactly.
But it's a lot during the summer, and so I was like, I was getting super overwhelmed. I had the kids home all day, and then was trying to work also, and was running them around through their sports, and like kind of had a breakdown on the two guys. Like I am losing I'm behind. I'm like 3 weeks behind on the things I need to be doing. Like I was trying to work on this 30-day habit reset. A little quick plug if you guys want to do 30-day habit reset, I'll link that below. But I was working on that and trying to get that done so that I can start it in the fall. And I was just like, I was drowning. And so I reached out to you guys and I appreciate that, even though it's like probably annoying to be like, okay, she's having another meltdown, that you guys are like gracious too. You're like, yeah, we can do that. We can help out.
I was waiting for you to ask for help. I literally was. Because I knew how frustrated you were getting, and I was like, nope, she'll ask when she's ready. Like, I knew you were going to ask, and which is totally fine. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, no, she's it's not your first burnout or meltdown. So
yeah, no, like, I do get them because it is a lot. And I was by myself for those off and on. I had people, but never had like somebody in the house helping me until recently. So like that, like I would burn out, and I'm like, I'm exhausted. I can't. I'm so many moving parts.
But you won't accept the help until you ask.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of times, so with my ADHD, I can't even tell you where I need help.
Exactly.
Is what happens is I'm just kind of like sitting there and like, okay, we have a lawn that needs to be mowed. We have this that needs, like, I see the whole pile. And when people like, do you need help? I'm like, probably. I don't know. I just see this huge pile, but I can't tell you.
But like when I was talking to Andy, I was like, didn't she have sleep? Like, yeah, we can have the boys another day or another day and a half, like whatever. And so like on our side of it during the summer, our kids would be home, minimal supervision. Grandparents live right next door, so they're right there. And I would just come home to a mess, and
well, I think I felt guilty about that too. Like, I'm here, so I should be able to like take care of them and feed them and all that stuff. And I knew that you guys have work, so I'm like, dude, they'll go there and freaking trash the house because.
But like, so when I would like be on my way home or whatever, I would tell the kids, like, I'd call Beckham and I'd call Brody, and I'm like, hey, you guys need to clean these things up. I don't want. I want all the dishes in the sink. I'm not asking them to wash the dishes. Just put everything in there. Mm-hmm. All the dirty clothes, like make your bed, just so I am not walking into a freaking tornado. Yeah. And like sometimes I would. Okay, they're kids. Like I don't expect spotless.
Mhm.
But sometimes I'm like, guys, seriously?
Mhm.
And I'm just like, okay, how many more days till school? Because, oh my God.
Well, and like I don't naturally go to kind of like organize and routine, but I also need organizing routine. Like I have to have
Mhm.
it, and so yeah, back to school. Back to school has been tough too. With
I
all
know.
their sports,
I know.
like we have football for football every night, basically with Beckham.
Yep.
Football 3
But
nights
I'm
for the
not-
others.
I'm
foot
not worried
soccer,
about
they're just
him.
like, yeah.
I am
he's happy.
so happy he's old enough to have it right after school. Because it's so much nicer.
Mhm.
And then the switch off from picking up Beckham to dropping off Brody's at the same time, basically.
Yeah, that is nice.
And then it's like, it's a smooth transition, especially Thursday. So, like, with Andy, he gets home at 6:30. Okay. If I'm picking up the boys, I pick them up at 2:45. Okay. There's that time frame of I'm by myself,
Mhm.
which I'm fine by myself. But there's a lot of shit in between those 4 hours.
There is. There's so much.
Oh my God. I just worked 8 hours. I've been up since 4:45 in the morning. I wake up every day. And I'm like, okay. But I've gotten so much better at my routine of my Thursdays. My Thursdays are my busiest days for me. So I'm like down to like the the 30-minute gaps and stuff, and I've gotten a really good routine with the boys, especially since school just basically started.
Yeah, and then the twins having to do their reading and stuff like that, making sure all that fits in there.
And yeah, exactly. And like I love it because the boys know that it's Thursday, we're on a routine, we're not messing around, we still have school tomorrow. Friday, free for all. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
Like, we only have Beckham's practice on Fridays.
Mhm.
And I'm like, perfect. But Thursdays are, and every other day is just killer. And yeah, I try to get them to bed on time or decent time
Mhm.
and just all the things. And I wish I could work from home or be at home more. But I am happy because I do get to be home. I get off at 2:30, so it's like the perfect time for me to still, even if I don't have the boys, to catch up on those things that I don't have to do when they are with us.
Mhm.
Like all the laundry, all the, just everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It is, and it's like I that's why I'm just like super grateful to have you there and being able to communicate with you and have that. Like women just make a house a home. Like
period.
I want that for Andy, and I want that for the kids, and I want that for like everybody's happiness. It's like it's so much better if like your ex is happy and healthy and in like a good place. And so it's like
makes everything easier. It makes the energy better.
Mhm.
The kids are happy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because the kids feel your energy.
And the kids know they can't play us. Because I didn't know that. I knew that I could play my parents. Like they can't be like, well, Dad said. I'm like, oh really? Like, or Haley said, or but it's like, no, I think I have them on speed dial right here.
Yeah, literally.
We're all on the same team.
Yes. And yeah, oh, Dad said, really? Because Dad hardly answers his phone anymore. So don't be playing me on that one. Because I know. So yeah. Oh, can we have a friend over? On a school night? Yeah, probably not. I'm very stickler about that because
I let Beckham. He's the only one.
Yeah, well, so like when we do have them, we're not the only ones that take the boys to school.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah,
so it's like, okay, if we're adding another kid, the other person. So Andy takes them to school every Friday, and then every other time that the boys are with us, they go with their grandpa. And so I don't want to put more onto him because that's not fair. And so, sure, Thursday night, like maybe like sometimes, sure, like that's fine. But other than that, I'm just save it for it's hard, but
yeah. So also, I think something that here's like a tip too for co-parents. Where are we at? Oh my gosh, this is such a good episode. So co-parenting. I don't like we communicate about how we want to do things. Like what are you doing for this, or how are you doing that, or like what's like, hey, we need to get him to stop doing this, like this is what I'm doing at my house. And but like your house is your house to do how you want, and like we can talk about it. I could offer what I'm doing, but like I really think it's important to respect the other house's rules. And I'm like, you can do that at your dad's house, but you can't do that here, and you can do that here, but you can't do that at your dad's house, because that's how life is going to be. Like you're constantly going to be in different environments with different rules, and you have to learn how to read that room. And so there's a lot of respect, I think, in like that your house and your rules can be the same, could be different, but like I'm not here to judge them. I'm not here, like, as long as my kids are taken care of, like feed them, love them, and
they're not bleeding, which they usually are.
You're wearing the helmet on your go-kart, right? Yeah, we have to wear a helmet on your go-kart.
That's a rule.
They know that one. So, but I'm like, but it's like you have to let go of that control, that it's you didn't want to raise those kids in the same household. So now you only get to control your own household. Yeah. And I think that's hard for a lot of people.
I mean, I can't imagine, but yeah, I get that. That's why I'm like, no, it's my house, that's your house.
Yeah, it's like we whether we do things different or whatever, like I respect that they're taken care of. They're happy, they're taken care of, and how they do things is how they do.
I think one of the few things that we do like the same is like if the boys get in trouble at school with the groundings, we keep that the same. I mean, they do their homework normal, both houses, like the big stuff. We try to keep the same habits. So that's good.
So I was listening to a divorce podcast, or she's a divorce podcaster. I think it was just on her Instagram though. She was saying that kids' happiness is not based on if they have like both parents in the home or divorced parents, but if their parents put them in a situation to have to choose loyalty between the parents. And so like never talking bad about each other, never being like, well, we're divorced because of this, or your dad doesn't do this, or your mom doesn't do that, or like you didn't get to do that because your mom forgot to, like there's no blaming. Like the less we like can like blame the other parent, like then one against they know that we're all on the same team. But then they feel like if I am unhappy with their dad who is half them, they have to choose like either be loyal to me or love their dad. And we it's something that I knew from the beginning, but also just something that I heard the other day that I thought was like, yeah, like that's, we don't talk bad about each other. I mean, like at least I don't think you do talk bad about me. Like
I don't like that. My parents were together, and for a time it was rough, and I don't like seeing other kids or other people having to pick a parent.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to be in that situation to have to do that?
And
like, it doesn't seem fair, obviously. And divorce isn't hard, I'm sure. And it's just, why can't we just all, like, even if we don't love each other, like, can we just be civil?
Yeah. Can we just have like a level of respect for each other?
Can we just be on a civil playing field and then go from there? Because I don't like confrontations. I don't like it. I want to throw up. I don't like that stress, because I just don't want the stress. I don't need it. I'm already stressed out about everything else. And so like that's why I'm like, if someone gets riled up about something, like just go outside. Just relax. Like it's not a big deal. If it was a big deal, we can make it a big deal. But it's usually not a big deal. Or it's something that we could talk about later.
Yeah.
Or it's something that doesn't even, if it's in the past, and I'm like, it's in the past for a reason. It's in the past. Let's not talk about that. Like, just forget about it. So
what would be your biggest, what would be some advice, maybe like a couple things for somebody that's in your position? So coming into a recently divorced co-parent, maybe not even recently, just co-parenting relationship. What was something that you learned that you would want to share with somebody that was like a younger version of you? That was a lot of words. That was a lot of words. I'm gonna just keep rambling until you have time to think. Just like, tell me something about what if you were. I gotta work on my questions.
I'm gonna say this in a very like stepmoms or girlfriends with boyfriends that have kids or whatever situation you are in. Don't take this the wrong way, but stay in your lane.
Okay.
What I mean by that,
Yeah, no, I like that one. Explain.
Is I would get so caught up in what you were doing and what I wasn't doing and vice versa and like all these things. But the only thing that matters is what's going on at my house, what's going on in my life. Like focus on your life, focused on your relationship with the kids. Just tunnel vision to your life, and everything else on the outside is just noise. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how other people react. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like you can't control that stuff. So like why should it bother you so much? Like it will lessen your anxiety so much, I'm telling you. Because I wish I did that at the beginning, but I didn't. And I ate me alive. And I would question like, is this right for me? Like, should I be doing this? You know, like, and it brought up like more arguments and just like so much unnecessary stuff that just doesn't matter. And like, I'm at the point now that it's like, did that stuff matter? No. None of it mattered. If it mattered, it would have, been big enough of a deal that we would have dealt with. I feel like you've gone through so much and we've gone through so much just in the 4 years or whatever that like, I'm like, okay, what's next? What is it? I don't know. We've gone through all of it, so I don't know what's next.
No, you guys need to have another baby so that I can be
God.
Auntie G or Mama G, the step Mama G, random weird unhealthy relationship with your child.
How about just G?
You're gonna have a girl,
and I told Andy, I was like, whether any girl or boy, Gentry's gonna want to hold the baby the whole time. And I was like, especially if it's a girl, she's gonna want to hold the baby.
She's gonna be my little buddy.
Yeah, and he was like,
we're co-parenting all the kids, Haley.
He was like, I know. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just saying, because I'm not doing her hair, you are. I already told you that many years ago. I am not doing her hair.
I will braid her hair.
Not doing it. I'm not doing it. I will shave it.
I love though every time we talk about you guys having a kid, it's always a girl too. Like, yeah. Even if it's a boy, I'll still,
like if it's a boy, okay, cool. Like, welcome to the like
welcome to just put him in the pen with the rest of them.
Totally fine together. But no.
I like that advice because I do think that like and I think like what you're kind of saying with that too is like not play that compare game. Because I think I did that too.
Killer.
Like it would make me
it destroys you.
Jealous of things like instead of celebrating your relationship with your kids, I'd be like, oh, they want to do that with her. They don't want to do that with me. Like it's just like you're gonna have a different relationship with my kids than I'm gonna have with my kids, and like staying in your own lane with them. And I like that. Like just stay focused on like, hey, how am I showing up as a mom? Is she things she's doing give me ideas like, oh, you know what, maybe I should level up a little bit because she's doing this or that. It's like that's fine. Like a healthy like
if you wanna
oh, you know what, I like that. I'm gonna do that too. Not like, oh, she's doing it, so now I have to do it.
And well, we got like I got to a point where I was just like, I just compared so much, and I was like, why am I comparing? And I was like reassured, like, why? Like, why? There's no need to compare because we're both different in our own ways, and the boys love us in our own ways, and it's fine to be like that, and it's okay. But we had like a few like moments of our relationship where it was like, do we hate each other? Like, like I don't know what's going on, and it's just it put more stress on it for no reason. And like when Lacey was here, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're both like, I don't know what's going on. We both have like huge emotions sometimes and roller coaster emotions, and it's just like I feel like we're a lot better now though.
Yeah, I I think that there's just been
We've definitely grown together.
yeah.
I think like as the moms, like our relationship, obviously at the beginning there wasn't really one, but now it's like we'll both beat up somebody. Pick on our kids.
Yeah.
Like, oh
you
god,
do not mess with our babies because we
we're
will
both crazy.
we will
We both have mental disorders. Like, oh my god, I'm not even.
Yeah, it's an ally in raising the kids. It's not a competition in raising the kids. And I think, and I do think that takes time. And I think that like
it's not something that's gonna be right away.
no, like I had to trust, like I said, like I had a fear of like, okay, somebody else is gonna come and they're gonna like start making different demands and making things more difficult and not liking that Andy and I were friendly, like because we don't get in like these knockdown fights, you know, like we get along, we can sit, we sit next to each other at games. Like I love when we were able to all have,
we do, and we don't even mean to, we just do.
But I remember even in like a divorce thing that I follow or co-parenting thing that I follow was like let your kids only have to look one place when they look to the crowd. It's like, don't have to be like, oh, there's dad and his family and there's mom and her family. It's like, no, we all like the football game, like we'll sit all in the same little area. And it's like, that's so good for the kids to see that. And like some stepmoms could come in and not like that we're still friendly because they just like be weird about that. And it's like, just like getting rid of ego, getting rid of jealousy, getting rid of, like you said, like looking side to side and just kind of like focusing on like, okay, how am I going to show up as a mom today? And like, am I doing things with good intentions? And I mean, like in life, I mean, like I feel like I try to show up in life, but especially with your kids, because it's like we only get so much time with them. Like, do we really want to spend it like fighting over like 15 minutes of drop off or whatever, you know, like literally we're wasting time and energy on things that aren't important if we get into all that.
Yeah. And that's why also I feel like sometimes the communication, like it helps to minimize it. Minimize the BS. Minimize, you know what I mean?
I think too, because it's taken time, and we'll probably wrap this up. You know, like how much she needs to go home and take a nap.
I'm getting into it, so let's get into it.
Well, I think that like it took time. We built that trust. We continued to work on building that trust, right? Like it wasn't like where there was a conflict and we decided to like give up. We were like, okay, we're going to keep working through this. And then now that we understand each other and who we are, like I know that you have anxiety, so I'll be like she didn't say hi to us, but I could tell that she's anxious right now because there's a lot of people. Like, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it personal. Where at the beginning it was like, weird. And so it's like now it's like I know you well enough to know that like nothing you're doing is trying to be like intentional or rude, or I'm choosing to take it that way because of my own insecurities. Yeah. And same thing with like my forgetfulness. It's like I'm not trying to leave you guys out on things. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. It's like I just get in these spirals sometimes when my plate gets a little too full and you'll
it's not a plate, it's more like a bowl. Trying to just like hold it all in.
Like a big old mixer bowl. Yes. Like, shit. And I'm walking through the house mixing things are falling everywhere.
Oh god.
It's so much. And I'm transitioning now to having a partner in my house. And a new partner in our co-parenting, which so let's talk about that for 2 seconds. Because we've been working for 4 years kind of off and on together. Andy and Will have not talked a ton. And they don't know each other. They don't know each other's. They don't trust each other yet.
We don't. Me too. I don't really. I don't really know him.
Yeah.
Like, and when you first mentioned, like, oh, like, let's add him into the group chat. And I was like, when you said that, my mind is like thinking of every single question I want to ask her, because I'm like, okay, this changes everything. You know, I'm sure it changed a lot when I was added to, the dynamic. And now I'm like, now I'm not that new person. And I'm like,
sort of like vetting him, like, are you worthy of this group chat?
Can you handle this shit show? Because we'll see. But no, like it's, and I don't know if it's different because he's a guy.
Yeah, like a little bit more like the alpha guys who have more of that like macho-ness.
Yeah, but then also like, they're not like great with the planning, other stuff, and I'm like, I know we normally take control of that stuff, but like I was just like, I had questions with Andy, like, okay, like how much does he want to be involved?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does he want to do everything I do? Or does he want to, be on the sidelines a little bit more because he also has kids, two other kids? So I was like, I don't know anything, and I can't really ask questions because, like, I don't think any of us know.
Yeah.
So, like, it was kind of all new.
Yeah, and I like respect too that you guys are like, yeah, like let's include him and we'll see, and just kind of gave him like the rules of the group chat that like we talk about calendars, we talk about the kids.
He's still going through initiation.
Yeah. When you guys were like, what's for dinner? And he had to respond, I was like, well, okay. But I like too that they were playful in their like talking crap about the football game, because I think that that's like good for them to like kind of get to know each other and then build that trust and then build that relationship.
Well, yeah, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's harder for guys.
I think so too.
Because they, they're the head of the household.
Yeah.
And now it's like
there's, I mean, but I feel like women have it, we're just better at like hiding control, because we kind of like we run the household, but we're kind of like puppeteers. I feel, does that make sense?
No, yeah, it does.
So it's kind of like we're kind of hidden, and we kind of like make sure all the things get done, and all of that. We're silent warriors. We're behind the scenes doing all the work, and we're the ones keeping track of everything.
Oh, you want to talk about all that?
Yeah, like we're the silent warriors. We're there like the alpha, like men of the house. Silent warriors. No, I love that phrase. That's why I said that to Will when we first started dating. I was like, I'm a silent warrior.
Mostly because I don't like to talk either. So
I love to talk.
I'm in the corner, like, looking at everyone else who's stupid.
But like moms are like, nobody knows how much I do until I start dropping the ball from my overwhelm. And then it's like, oh wow. It's like, oh, so nobody recognized all the shit I was doing before I dropped the ball. But as soon as I drop the ball, it's like, anyway. Yeah. That's just part of being mom, right? So that, like, including him though, and us like working through that dynamic of like, okay, now there's another person involved, and like, and the same thing is like, is anything he's saying, like, we have to trust that like everything he's saying or everything that he's doing is with good intention, and with like, and like trust that we'll get to know each other a little bit better as it goes, so that there's not conflict. Yeah.
I think it's new too, because we've never, I mean, us three, we've never, this is the first guy you've like really wanted to like add.
Yeah.
Like you were like all in, and so we're like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. She's all in. If she's all in, then hopefully, he's
the same fears, right? Like that I talked about. Like, is he going to come in and start like making me be different towards you guys? And it's like, no, I'm going to like, no, it's more the opposite. I'm like, no, we are kind. We are this.
Well, and those are the questions I was asking Andy, because I was like, like, I don't know him. Like, is he going to be nice to the boys? Like, is, and like things in the past, like sometimes they've, voiced things to me of like not liking certain people. And I'm like, I get nervous as the mom in my household, like, hopefully, and I love that they're so open that they can tell me those things. And I'm just like, well, Hope Gentry's really thinking everything through and, like, you know, putting the boys first. And obviously, it's important that you're happy too. But, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I want the kids to be fine with it, and, you know, and
Mhm.
everything. And I'm sure you felt the same way when I came into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I guess I've never had to think that way yet.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So now it's kind of like roles are reversed.
Because you know, your other little
my other relations,
Situations.
my other situations were never really like any. Well, the one was like kind of in and out of the house, but like
that's why that
was
Mhm.
hard on the kids. And then after that, I was like, no, nobody's coming
Mhm.
into this house like ever again. Like it was
Yeah.
like
well,
no,
and that's, you know, that was the one that, you know, was really hard on them.
yeah.
And even obviously with Andy and
Mhm.
stuff. And so, like, maybe I'm sure he has walls up,
Yeah.
you know, because it's another guy around the kids, so that's like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so far so good.
Yeah.
So we'll just see what happens in the future. And if you get pregnant before me, though, I will literally come unglued. I'm already not glued together.
6 kids.
I know. Someone asked me, should I have a kid over there? And I was like, I better not. Like, I will literally, like, please. Cry so much. I've been crying a lot and I can't handle it.
We got a lot of babies already. Well,
Basically a baby still.
huh?
She's still a baby.
Yeah, I know.
2 babies.
She's almost 3. Yeah,
That's a baby.
you know.
But toddler.
No, yeah,
That's
yeah. We got a lot. We got a lot going on.
well. I mean, when I came into the picture, the twins just turned 3.
Yeah.
And they're twins and boys, and I was like, oh, okay. And oh yeah, I mean, I'm really sad I obviously haven't experienced the newborn stage yet, because that's the part I'm missing.
Mm-hmm.
I have all the other stages.
Yeah.
Toddler, teenage now.
And just like pregnancy. Like everybody, if you're listening to this still, because we just hit an hour. If you're listening to this, let's all say a little prayer for Haley to have a baby. Because she's had some health complications. And maybe we could come back and talk about all that too, because that's a whole nother, like, trying to figure out our hormones and all that stuff. But yeah, so we want them to be able to have a baby and her to be able to experience the pregnancy and all that on her own.
I was just asking for one.
Just one.
I just need one. It's really quiet when the boys aren't home.
Yeah. I know, I really like it.
I love it too.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I totally. It makes 100% sense that you guys would want to have one of your own.
Because right when you come to pick up the boys or something, me and Andy are like, so what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And it's just dead silent in the house, and I'm like, I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, but I hate it.
It's like totally like a love hate of, like, even when the boys leave, I'm like, oh, finally it's quiet, and then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, well, shit, when do they get home?
Yeah. It's so weird, because like when you're in the middle of it, you're like, can you just leave me alone?
Yeah.
Can you go in the other room? And then the 10 minutes they're gone, I'm like, where are they? Like, or you're counting, like, why do I only have 2 of them? You know, like, it's just, I don't know, it's weird. I'm at that point now.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Well, we'll all send a little prayer to Haley,
to the baby God.
Okay, so final thoughts on. Okay, so final tip or advice for sobriety, and then final tip and advice for co-parenting.
Can we bring up the conversation that I texted you recently about how because I didn't go to AA and all that?
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, what
Well,
conversation?
that's about sobriety. So we can talk about
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
that. So, I have a coworker, and we've gotten really, really close, and like we're really good friends and stuff. But she just said something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, which I don't know if she's like meant to say it that way, whatever. But she was saying how because I never went to AA or rehab or did any 12 step or did any programs or anything, that like my sobriety doesn't mean as much or doesn't like isn't as, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that really like hit me hard.
Which is so bizarre. Like, you have to be like clinically proven to be an alcoholic to decide that alcohol doesn't serve you and that you've taken a step to have a better life.
And yeah, exactly. And like I never really, I mean, I'm sure I had a lot of alcoholic tendencies and things like that, but I never really thought of myself as like you and I are different in that way a little bit.
Yeah.
And which is fine. But it's like I never got to that point. I never had that rock bottom or anything. And so I was just like, okay, but I'm sober. Like, why do those things matter?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been sober for a long time. I work on my inner healing. I obviously I could be healthier, you know. Like I do all those things, but like I did those alone.
Yeah.
Like I did those majority by myself, you know, one day at a time, like just no alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
That was my goal. It's just no alcohol. Everything else was whatever. But like, and I'm going to tell this for everybody listening, just because you didn't go through those things or do those things doesn't mean that your sobriety is less or anything like that. If you're doing it by yourself and every day you're staying sober, that means you're more.
Well,
I think because it's like, wow.
I think I like that because it's like your journey is your journey and your decision to get sober is your decision to get sober, and how you do that is like we talked about earlier. Like it's like how you do that is up to you. Like everybody's rock bottom is different.
Yes.
And probably where you were at 24 was where I was at 24. I just kept drinking for 6 more years until I was to a worse rock bottom. There we go, back bottom. But I like you saw the writing on the wall and you were proactive. You did it before you hit to a point where losing your job or losing your family or losing your kids or all that. And like that should be celebrated, not saying go back out there and get worse before you can come in here and call yourself somebody in recovery or somebody sober. So you don't have to hit a rock bottom of losing everything. You can decide alcohol no longer serves you and be done.
Period. That's it.
I like it. Okay.
Well, maybe I had like a little bit of a rock bottom. A little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I said, everybody's rock bottom is different, though. Your rock bottom was your threshold of like, it's a pain threshold. It's like everybody is willing to accept a certain amount of pain.
Yeah.
And that's why people that had a lot of trauma and stuff growing up, they struggle with the pain threshold because they're used to being in pain. They're used to the chaos. They're used to that, like having to that pain, that emotional pain, that all that stuff. So when they're faced with the discomfort of alcoholism and the consequences of it, their pain threshold's just, I guess it's way higher. Like it's just like, I can handle that. I've been through this. I can I can continue to beat myself up longer.
I think my sobriety was more of a I can't keep doing this kind of feeling versus a rock bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, in my college drinking days, I've definitely had a lot like rock bottom weekends of like, you're telling me I fell down 2 flights of stairs in the same night? Like, I had those kind of moments of a rock bottom, but I continued drinking.
Yeah.
Like, for many, many years after. And then it got to the point of, the anxiety high and the dry heaving and throwing up, and the acid reflux and all those things, all those gross things that add to it. It's just like my body was just exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, dude, what? And for what? What gain did I get out of it?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Like, it's just, you do all these things, but it doesn't take you anywhere.
No, it's a false, like, reality. It's just a
in the moment feeling.
Yeah.
Really. So, I'm good now.
I'm good now, though.
I'm getting my shit together.
Getting our shit together.
As we're laughing. Like,
that's why I do think that it's important to know that, like, you're like, we're all still hot messes. Like, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We still have anxiety. We still have these mental health, but it's just more manageable.
But guess what? We're sober.
We can manage it. We feel in control of it a little bit more, or we feel like we don't have to control it as much. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's it's like a freedom in not having to control.
We're not playing the catch up.
Yeah. Like, there's just, I can handle it when it hits, versus being the only tool that I have in my toolbox is to get blacked out drunk and lay in bed all day. Like, that's not,
I definitely lay in bed all day.
I do it less, but
I mean, Sunday, I don't think I got out of bed, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't because I was hungover.
It was your body's
I'm just
need for reset.
Yeah.
We do the best that we can.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can get back up. Like, I feel like there's not this, like, deep, dark consequences of staying in bed all day because I was blacked out and
the guilt.
All the guilt and the shame to follow for the next 3 days. It's like, no, I took a break and then I'll get back up and keep going.
Yeah. I just needed a little reset. Waking up early is killer.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, Andy's nice enough to let me sleep in. I woke up at 8 o'clock both days. That's what I needed. Like, you take the kid. What? Do. You do it. You feed him. So, it was good. But, second weekend of the kids this weekend.
Yeah. Got back-to-back weekends, and then we take back-to-back weekends.
Mm-hmm. But I think we only got Brady's game. So, should be pretty low-key again. I'm all about the low-key stuff, especially when it's not summertime.
Yeah.
I don't like to do much.
At least even though my afternoons are busier, it's nice that my mornings are quiet again, so I can
get
work
at least 5 to 8 hours when you're by yourself.
Yeah, I get it's like about 5 hours of just kind of like getting laundry started, get my work done, and then when they get home, it's like from 2:30 to bedtime. It's just like all mom mode. There's nothing. We got the first hour and a half of mom mode in the morning. 2:30 on is mom mode, but I do got my little pocket in the middle now.
Just
finally a little bit of time in the middle. Well, I appreciate you coming over and doing this interview. I think that it will help other co-parents and kind of recognize the jealousy, recognize the questioning of ourselves, recognize the insecurities, recognize like all the things that I felt at the beginning, but then but those aren't those are just feelings
and they're temporary.
And I think it's just really important to constantly have like this optimism that the other person has good intentions, and which they don't always. I know that they don't, but like I'd rather be in the delusion that everybody has good intentions than constantly be questioning people's intentions. Like it's like, you know what, I'm gonna accept that they meant well, and we're just gonna keep going, and I think that like we've done a good job of working through all those new feelings. And
the new feelings are gone, thank God.
It's just the new feelings of me.
I'm like, I know we see each other. Sup, bitch? Like it's whatever. I think we're a lot more. I think we're lucky, honestly. You were texting me the other day, like we both got pretty lucky.
Yeah,
because it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, co-parenting is hard. It's really hard. Super hard. There's new relationships, and there's like old feelings, and like we have to let those old feelings go. We have to let those like our egos go, and like let go of a little bit of control and like all that stuff. It's hard though. It's hard because it's a new territory. So that unknown is is uncomfortable at the beginning. And I've like you've been involved, but I've also co-parented with some like my ex's kids, and Will's so I'm like getting more comfortable, just being like confident and like this is my place. This I'm gonna say like whatever. I'm gonna stay kind. I'm gonna stay whatever. And consistent. I think consistency is important too. But like it is a different game. It's a different breed. Like,
well, even when you texted me, you're like, and I was saying like, welcome to the other side, you know, and you're like, yeah, like it's totally different when you're coming from the other side of it, or you know, both sides are different, and it's just the more people, the more feelings, the more everything, and nothing is black and white.
No. Yeah. But like keeping it on like focus on what's best for the kids, what's going to give the kids most opportunities for like fun, success, love, and how can we all help each other accomplish that?
Yep.
And then I genuinely like you as a person too, which is helpful.
Are you sure you do?
You've grown on me. No, I really do. I mean, like you love my babies. You're sober, which I love. I mean, that makes me feel like I love that they have that as an example in both houses. And like, yeah, you are organized and you have anxiety, which makes you extra organized, which helps my ADHD. So it's great.
Basically, we're playing off of each other's flaws.
We do. Your strengths help my weaknesses. My strengths help your weaknesses. We're good. Yeah. You're more shy and anxious in social settings, so I lead.
Like talk to her, not me. Don't look at me. But it's so true. And when they say it takes a village, it takes a village. It really does. And I give praise to the people who don't have that and do it alone. And I wish I could help it.
Yeah, like even when I look on my social, when I'm like single mom, like I've gotten attacked for saying single mom before too. So I'm like, well, it's hard to be like I'm a co-parenting mom that's not dating anyone. Like that's a really long child, but it is that is what it is. It's like I'm not raising my kids on my own. Like I'm not single completely. Like I just didn't have a partner. I didn't at the time. So it's like, but we co-parent.
Whole life.
Yeah. I'm a whole face.
You had one. Let's be real.
We're not talking about the whole face. All right. Anyways, next episode. No.
Whole face.
I'm a whole face. Okay. Well, I'll let you go. Thank you for coming over and recording with me. I really appreciate all you do for the boys. I'm proud of you and all the things you've accomplished. And cheers to keeping these kids alive.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Literally.
Keeping up with the Joneses. All right.
Should let everyone, or everybody, let her know if you guys want more episodes.
Yeah. If you guys want to hear more about co-parenting, and
random shit
and sobriety. Well, yeah, we can get into specific topics on stuff. That would be
whatever.
Yeah, we can have hey back. Hey. Okay. Well, thank you. And I'm gonna drop Haley's information in the bio, so if you guys want to check her out and her socials out. Also 30-day habit reset. I'll drop the link to that in there too. There's a free habit reset 7-day one in that link. So check that out so you can get your mindsets better for relationships like this. I think we've both had to work on our habits with our mindsets.
I think that's what helped us a lot too with being healthier towards each other, is that we're both working on our own shit and our own selves and stuff. But
it that makes a huge difference. Like if you're trying to work with somebody that's not working on themselves, it's like you're constantly growing and they're not, and it's like, oh my gosh, come on, we're trying to be more.
I'm like to Andy, like, you have to be nicer. That's not how we communicate.
Conflict resolution, come on.
Like I'm like pushing him, and he's like, oh, Mr. Grumpy Pants.
But I know I have the same thing with Will too. I'm like, okay, we can't. I understand that men are a little bit more aggressive, but we use our words.
They're both like, oh my god.
But we're training up. If you guys want us to talk about how we train our men as well, no, just kidding. We'd both be like, okay, we're cutting you guys off. But I'll drop her info below. And let me know if you like this episode. If you are a co-parent or co-parenting with somebody, and you guys have a good relationship, share this with them to tell them that you appreciate them for their work on your guys' relationship so that you guys can have the best kids and give your kids the most opportunities.
Yes. Happy kids, happy wife, happy life.
Yes. Love it. We're end on that. All right, guys, have a great day.